Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and happy Med Week. Today's program is called Why and How to Get Your Business Certified. And we have representatives from WBENC East, myself, EMSDC, the SEPTA DBE office, and Independence Business Alliance to talk about 4 different certifications. So just a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone is going to remain on mute for the duration of the sessions because we have so many people on the call. However, you are very welcome to use the chat to put in any questions, introduce yourself, and our panelists will be keeping an eye on the chat and answering questions as we go. We also will have a Q&A portion at the end. So if you do want to ask a question that you want, to be replied to out loud, please hold most of those questions to the end. We will be sending out a recording and the slides as well as the speaker's contact information afterwards. So let's get started then. Today we are talking about supplier diversity certifications. And I always like to start off these programs asking the question, what is supplier diversity? Because a lot of small business owners don't know enough about it, and they really should. So supplier diversity is a business practice where corporations, government agencies, any organization with a procurement department takes a look at their supply chain and sets goals to work with diverse suppliers and to diversify their supply chain. So generally, when we're looking at supplier diversity, we're looking at diversity among 5 different categories: women-owned, ethnically minority-owned, disability-owned, veteran-owned, and LGBTQ+-owned. And many business owners will have more than one certification. So we recognize that diversity is intersectional, and different certifications can open different doors. So it is our hope today that we give you some information about these different certifications and which ones may be beneficial to your business. So a little myth busting here. Diversity certifications do not guarantee contracts. The goal here is not to give a contract to a woman-owned business over a male-owned business or, any other diversity category. It is about creating an opportunity to compete because these corporations realize, one, that it's really hard for a small business owner to even know where to start, to get the right contacts, to just get their foot in the door, to even be considered for a contract. I mean, I know many women in construction that just fight to even have their bid considered because they are a woman. So it gives you that opportunity to compete and a contact in that procurement department whose job it is to make sure that they are working with diverse suppliers. And then on the flip side, these corporate and government buyers get access to a whole range of diverse suppliers they may not have even considered in the first place. And ultimately, it is their prerogative to pick the best fit for the job. So supplier diversity for these corporations, government agencies, any of these buyers, it's good business sense. A diverse supply chain is a healthy supply chain. We all saw the issues of the supply chain 4 years ago at the onset of COVID. When you have multiple suppliers in your back pocket that bring different innovations that are able to pivot quicker, that help drive down costs, it's really beneficial to these corporations. And that is why these programs exist and are as strong as they are. Now, looking at these certifications, many of these procurement departments will look to see that you have one or more certifications to get access to that supplier diversity program that they have. I feel like self-certifications are kind of falling out of fashion a little bit because many people self-certify that really shouldn't be self-certifying. And these corporations, it is in their best interest to have truly verified diverse suppliers. So there are many different certifications out there. Now, I'm going to give you kind of a high level here of the difference between some of these certifications, and we will be hearing more about these in the coming minutes. So there are 5 national certifiers. There's WBENC provides the women-owned, NMSDC minority-owned, NGLCC provides the LGBT-owned, NAVOBA veteran-owned, and disability and disabled-owned. Now, these are kind of the most widely accepted certificates nationwide. If you're doing business in the private sector with corporations, this is really the way to go because they are national certificates. And many cities, many states will also use these certificates as kind of a fast track to get into their certification programs. Now, when looking at government contracting, that's where sometimes it can get a little bit finicky, and you're really going to want to do your research to find out which certificate do they accept. So for example, the federal government has a number of certificates that are specifically for federal government contracting. So the WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business. Many people think, oh, I'm just going to get the Women-Owned Small Business and use it everywhere. But many corporations do not accept it because it is specifically for federal contracting. And vice versa, if you get the WBENC WBE and you go to the federal government, they're going to say, nope, we want the WOSB. Other certificates that are out there for federal contracting, 8A, HubZone, there's a handful of them. Now, similarly, we will also be talking today about the DBE, and that is really focused on the transportation sector. So we're talking Department of Transportation, airports. Now, if you take that certificate, the DBE, to some corporations, they may or may not accept it. It's really up to the corporations what certificates they want to accept. So that is why I always say ask, because even though the DBE is intended for doing business with transportation sector, even though the WOSB is intended for doing business with the federal government, a corporation may say, you know what, we'll accept it. Fine. It's a valid certificate that, you know, has a good reputation. We'll accept it. So it can never hurt to ask. But I just want to put this out that there are different certificates out there, and you really need to find out what certificate you need before you put in that bid or that RFP, because you do not want to be stuck with them saying, you know, okay, we're seriously considering your bid. Are you WBENC certified? And you say, no, I have my DBE. And they'll say, oh, no, we want, you know, XYZ certificate. Because many of us here are local to the Philadelphia area, I just want to point out here that we're actually in a great area. The Pennsylvania Department of General Services, they have a certificate, the Small Diverse Business. They accept any of the national certifiers and the DBE as a fast track, which is great. Same as Philadelphia. City of Philadelphia also accepts the national certifiers and the DBE as a fast track to get registered with them. But you may or may not need to. You know, again, it is specifically for doing business with that state. So when in doubt, ask. Do your research and find out what certificates you really need. Now, similar to there's no one-size-fits-all certification, there's no one-size-fits-all procurement process. I would love for there to be a master list of RFPs statewide or nationwide for diverse suppliers. There is not. Every procurement department is different. Some actually put out RFPs live, some don't. Some it's invite only. They don't want the incumbent to know they're putting a bid out for an RFP. You know, some have very active supplier diversity programs and they host supplier events and you know, they set specific goals. Others, it's kind of an informal thing, but you know, it may be a nice cherry on the top that you can send and it'll help you keep that business from year to year. So just keep that in mind. And that is also why these certification networks are so important, because we try to help you make those connections with these procurement departments. So many of us, the certifiers on the call right now, host these networking events with our corporations to help you actually get the right contact and understand what does it look like to send a bid in with this corporation? Where do I get my foot in the door? Because it's difficult. It's hard for small business owners to know where to start. So we're going to pause for a second and take a short self-assessment. Is certification right for me? You know, having heard everything we've been talking about with, you know, doing business with the procurement departments and government and, you know, that being said, is your business B2B? If you are product-based, are you looking to go wholesale retail? So, you know, school districts, big box stores, hospitals, hotels. If you are service-based, do you provide commercial services? If you are a brand new business, and I know many brand new businesses, one of the first things they do is they're like, I got to get certified. But if you are a brand new business, are you ready? Because if you get that certificate, but you don't have the capacity or the capital to actually start contracting and doing business, it's not going to help you right away, right? These corporations want to see that you will be successful for them, right? Sometimes, having that success factor and then being able to trust that you're going to do a job well is more important than having the certification. So you want to make sure that you have that capital investment, that you can back up your work before you get that first check-in from that first job. You have your equipment, you have your employees ready to go. Are you willing to share all of the details of your business? Because these certifiers, we're going to go really in depth into what we look for and what the eligibility is, but you've got to be prepared to share all that information with us. And lastly, are you just clear that this is a networking and a marketing tool? It is a tool in your tool belt. It does not guarantee you business. So that being said, what is your goal here? What is your strategy for getting a supplier diversity certification? Because a certificate is a piece of paper, right? It's not a salesperson. It's not going to go out and market your business on your behalf. There are tens of thousands of certified diverse businesses in the country. You need to have a strong marketing plan. You need to really understand who your target clients are. You really need to understand the bidding environment in your industry, because if you don't understand all that and you don't have a strong marketing strategy, a supplier diversity certificate is not really going to do that much more for you. You really need to incorporate it into your marketing and strategic plans. So that being said, I hope I've given you a really good overview of what supplier diversity is and the different certificates that are out there. So we have 4 different certifiers on the call today. We're going to be talking about the MBE, the minority owned, the LGBT-owned, which is sorry, not NMSDC, NGLCC, that national certificate. We'll be talking about the DBE from the transportation sector, and then I will wrap it up talking about the WBE, or the women-owned. So I am going to pass it over to Aaliyah. I am going to stop my screen. Aaliyah, you are welcome to share your screen and kick us off to talk about the MBE certificate.
Okay, guys. Hi. Thank you so much, Colleen. So first of all, it looks like I've gotten lost on my slides here, and I'm trying to go back to the beginning of my presentation. So my name is Aaliyah. I am the Director of MBE Services at Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council. I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us today on this 40th anniversary of MedWeek. And thank you to all of our partners that are on the call and during the call today. I really get super excited. I'm taking in a lot of the overview that Colleen was so, that we really appreciate Colleen putting together. It gave you guys a really good understanding supplier diversity 101. When you're getting into the networks and when you're applying for certifications, just letting you know that we're here when you're good and ready. And that these are a lot of the services that we offer support the growth and development of your business, no matter where you are. So I'm going to get right onto it. We do a post-certification and a pre-certification webinar every month. So you can feel free to check out our website at emsdc.org if you want to learn more about the pre-certification and just a lot of our events and programs that we currently have going on. So who are we? The Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council. We are one of the 23 regional affiliates of the NMSDC. As Colleen mentioned, we are part of a national organization that does minority certification. And pretty much with the Eastern region, we cover the entire Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Southern Jersey. And what we do is we pretty much support the development, engagement, and growth of the diverse suppliers that are certified with us. So we are here. This is a marathon. We pretty much join a network. We are pretty much conveners in this really relationship-driven organization. So I encourage you to learn more, as was mentioned earlier, about identifying your targets when you're getting into this organization. You can look at our corporate membership list. and they'll tell you a lot about our current partners, and see if these are the type of folks that you're looking to do business with, so that you'll be better aligned once you do get your certification. So some of the benefits that are also involved with our certification is a national recognition, as I mentioned before. You're part of a national organization, I'm sorry. And with the 23 affiliate regions, you're able to subscribe to affiliate regions to be a part of their networks as well. So you'll be able to utilize your certificate that you get in your hometown or your headquartered state across the region and beyond, across the nation and beyond. You have access to our corporate buyers and also those partners of our affiliates. You also have exposure to business opportunities. As was mentioned before, I really appreciate the overview. I'm going to probably mention that again, because it's giving you a realistic expectation of the fact that it's not a one size fits all. A lot of our partners have different preferred methods of engagement. So what we do is we learn our partners, and we're better advocates. We connect with your council members throughout the year. And you want to make sure that you are coming to us with your target, and we'll be able to better let you know, better align you with their preferred method of engagement. Are they having a up next, or how to do business? Do they join the matchmakers? Do they have any current procurement opportunities that fits the categories that you serve? So you want to think about some of those things when you're engaging throughout the year. Award opportunities gives you recognition and visibility, basically, amongst your peers in the business community. You're listed in supplier diversity databases, which is also giving you visibility. All of our partners have access to our membership portal. So you want to make sure that you'll have all the information updated throughout the year about the size and capabilities of your firm. Professional development is very important. I'm super excited about MedWeek, taking advantage of all of the free workshops and development events that are going on across the city. NMSDC just host their annual conference as well, where we had a host of development opportunities for our MBEs and our corporate partners. So feel free. I'd love to talk to you more about things that we have currently going on specific for your industry or specific for the area that you serve. We also have access to seminars hosted by our corporations. A lot of our corporates like to host, as Colleen mentioned before, they may have their own diversity summits, or where they bring out all of their procurement professionals for all their different departments every year. We have quite a few partners throughout the region that have annual summits, incubators, cohorts, capacity building programs, just a lot of ways for you to engage as a professional service vendor, or if you have a product and service that they source. Networking events is one of my favorites, being as though, like I said, we are known as basically national conveners. Along with our new program that we have with the World Trade Center, depending on what your focus and goals are, if you have a product or service that could be also procured internationally, we've been working with our World Trade Center affiliates to make sure that you have opportunities in the global supply chain as well. So you want to just take advantage of all the networking opportunities, all of the diverse vendors that are also there. We certify zero startup businesses to multi-billion-dollar companies. So you want to make sure that you're looking at some of the prime contractors as far as diverse vendors that are also looking to source locally that may be in the room as well, with our MBE to MBE opportunities. And just basically supporting the growth and development of your company, regardless if it's access to capital, regardless if it's some type of certifications or something that aligns with your business needs. You want to make sure you connect with us so that we can refer you out to one of our advocacy partners on the network that will be able to help serve you. So who's eligible for certification? MBEs are for-profit enterprises is certifiable. So you want to make sure that you're a for-profit, not a nonprofit organization. We do collaborate with nonprofits, but regardless of the size, like I said, zero startup to multi-million-dollar companies. located in the United States. We talk a little bit more. I'm not going to get a lot into what some of the qualifications are, but you can feel free to follow up with me, and I'll be able to share this presentation with you as well. But the ethnic minority group members must be citizens who are African American or Black, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, Asian Pacific, or Asian Indian. And 51% owned, managed, and operated by a minority. This will tell you a little bit about folks that are not eligible for certification, green card holders, I'm afraid are not, and some folks that are located in some of these other areas that are listed within the Northern Africa, Asian minor region, Europe, and the Persian Gulf. So just a little bit of overview about the process. It is right now currently a 60 to 90 day process. You get your application, and you, they ask you some pre-qualifying questions on our website, NMSDC.org. Everything is done online. You'll submit those things on the portal. The application is then submitted to the committee for, the certification committee for review. And they certify, they look over all of the information that's submitted. You are followed up with the certification team, for a site visit. And then it's submitted to the committee for review, So what you want to do is just make sure that you have all your required documents. That's another resource document that I'll also share if you're interested in getting certified, just to let you know the type of documents that are required, determined on the type of business, your business formation. This is the application fees are assessed by the size of your business on the annual revenue. So it's usually $500, but due to our partnership with the city of Philadelphia, we have under $1 million in revenue. It's $300 for your first year of certification. So you may want to look at our national website. There are a few of our national partners that have national certification initiatives where they will fund your first year of certification fees. So yeah, this is a document that I could send separately, but it also tells you, about the required documents. And tell people that we are a third-party verifying agency, that these requirements have been in place for about 50 years. So if you have any questions, if you think anything might be not applicable to your actual application, that's something that you could speak with the certification team about. So this tells a little bit more about the review of the information. Site visit, usually are virtually, unless you have an office or warehouse, then you may get an in-person visit. Timeline is 60 to 90 days, like I said. So if you have any questions, you could ask. Please make sure you reach out to me directly. I'll make sure I put my email address in the chat, and direct you to our website as well, so you could come to our upcoming post-certification and pre-certification webinars. So thank you again, guys, and thank you, Colleen, for having all of this.
Thank you, Aaliyah. That was great. And just a reminder that each of these certifiers do a full hour-long presentation on how to get certified. So there are a lot more resources out there to answer your questions more in depth. This is really just a high-level overview of each one.
Yes.
So the next certifier that we're going to, Zach, you are up. We are going to be talking about the LGBT-owned certificate.
Thank you. I'm just starting my slideshow right now, and then I'll connect you. Okay. You would think several years into this pandemic, I have a better handle on how to operate Zoom, but here we are. So hi, everybody. My name is Zach Wilke. I'm the CEO of the Independence Business Alliance. Like Colleen mentioned before, we are the LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce for the greater Philadelphia area. Happy to walk you through our certification process today, but first, a little bit about us. So we are a membership-based business advocacy organization dedicated to making the Philadelphia region an influential and diverse LGBTQ+ business community with an impact on economic development, equal rights, and policy issues. Some of the things that we do for our members is enhance financial opportunities, foster diversity, develop leadership and collaboration, and advocate for positive change. I'll get into this in a moment, but we are an affiliate of the NGLCC, which stands for the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, even though that acronym does not look like it. That's a long story. That's part of our hour presentation instead of the 10-minute version of it. You can find any information about us after this today at the www.thinkiba.com. And we do have a supplier diversity fair in January, where we bring together all of our corporate partners, and you get to meet them and walk from table to table and hand over your competencies to them. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. Also wanted to mention, it's not necessarily germane to today's conversation, but we are the first Chamber of Commerce in the country to have a program dedicated to the economic uplift for trans and gender nonconforming folks called TransWork. So if you want any information about that, please reach out in the comments section. Like I said, we're an affiliate of the NGLCC, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. They are the business voice for the LGBT community. It's the only national advocacy organization dedicated to expanding economic opportunities for our community. It's also the exclusive third-party certifying body for LGBT-BEs, which are certified LGBT business enterprises. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The IBA in the greater Philadelphia region is one of 62 affiliates nationwide. There's 10 more around the world in different countries. So if you are joining us remotely from an area that's not Philadelphia today, there's most likely an LGBTQ+ chamber in your area that you can join to learn more about this. The NGLCC is the national certifying body, like I said, but we at the IBA will do the site visit for you once you do your application. When you're interested in certifying, what you do is you connect with us, and then we connect you with NGLCC's certification office, and they start a bespoke process with you with one of their caseworkers to start you on your process where you have to hand over certain documents. And we'll get into some of the requirements in just a moment, but you also have to prove your identity. If you are a member of your local chamber, like the IBA, then certification is free at the national level. That's right, free. That's very exciting. If you are looking to save some money, you can do that by joining us, and we connect you with your free certification nationwide. According to a 2017 report, LGBTQ+ business contributes $1.7 trillion to the United States economy. And certification is vital for gathering this kind of data. So we need our business owners to stand and be counted. Right now, there's more than 2,200 certified businesses nationwide. The IBA has around 75 to 80 of those here. And the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and State of New Jersey both count this certification. We'll get into more of who counts that in just a second. Some of the benefits of certification include contracting opportunities in the public and private sector, opportunities with NGLCC's more than 200 corporate partners, business-to-business referrals with a national network. A new human rights campaign score standard requires companies to utilize LGBT-BEs in their supply chains in order to get a perfect score. We need businesses to stand up and be counted in a dearth of data about our community, and you're part of a powerful network of small businesses working together. The requirements for certification, there are only a few of them, but the majority of your company, at least 51%, has to be operated, owned, and managed and controlled by an LGBTQ+ person or people who are either US citizens or lawful or permanent residents. You must exercise independence from any non-LGBT business enterprise. You must have your principal place of business in the United States and be formed as a legal entity in the United States. Some facts about the LGBTQ+ economy include stuff about building wealth here. You can see our LGBTQ+ businesses average staying in business for at least 12 years. It's increasingly diverse, and we're, like I said, contributing $7 trillion to the US economy. That would make LGBTQ plus businesses the 9th largest country in the world, bigger than Russia, Canada, and Australia, and are always contributing jobs to our economy. We talked already about what supplier diversity is, so I won't tell you about that because Colleen did a great job. But I did want to let you know that more than half of Fortune 500 companies recognize this certification and partner with the NGLCC to create fully LGBTQ plus inclusive supply chains. Some cities and states that include LGBT certified businesses in their procurement processes include New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, the state of Pennsylvania, the city of Pittsburgh, Nashville, Houston, Orlando, Miami, Baltimore, and many more. If you're wondering where Philadelphia is on this list, we continue to be the nation's largest city that refuses to include LGBT-BEs in their definition of diverse business enterprises. We're not exactly sure why this continues, but that is a fact that we are the largest city that continues to do that. So not exactly something to be proud of, but there are plenty of opportunities in the private sector where you can get opportunities with places like Comcast, PNC, Independence Blue Cross. Any major corporation in Philadelphia is including us. Can you have more than one certification? Of course. Most of our LGBT-BEs in the IBA are double certified with other certification bodies, whether it's WBENC or NMSDC. Double certifications are great. And in fact, if you have the work done for one certification, you are likely to have the work done for another. So it makes a double certification or even triple certification easier for you. Just some examples of why it's important to be part of LGBTQ plus chambers and to be counted. We've already talked about the economic power. Folks in our community are twice as likely to own small businesses or be self-employed because of work environments. The buying power of our community is rather large. And right now, allegedly, more than 4.1% of Americans over 18 identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual. And if you count folks under 18, the number skyrockets. In terms of buying loyalty, you can see some of the statistics here, that 55% of LGBTQ plus consumers choose to do businesses with companies that they know have commitments to DE&I and equal treatment of employees. 46% prefer products from companies that support nonprofits serving LGBTQ plus communities. Generally, LGBTQ plus consumers have a deeper trust for products that target and support our community. And the best way to show that you are part of our community is through certification. And then finally, the business case for inclusion, you can see some of that here. In a world where almost 50% of employees still remain in the closet at work, it's vital that folks are able to identify overtly as LGBTQ plus business owners. And certification is the best way that folks can do that. So I will stop here and I'll look forward to any questions that folks have later for us. And I believe we're passing it to Marcia next.
Thank you so much, Zach. That was very informative. I did not know that about Philadelphia, and that is, wow. Marcia, you are next up, and we're kind of going to be turning into a little bit of a different sector, talking about transportation and the DBE. So take it away.
Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to share with everyone today. My name is Marcia Shepard. I'm one of the DBE program specialists here at SEPTA in our DBE program office. We are also a part of the Equity and Inclusion Division here at SEPTA. And I'm just going to be giving a high-level view. I'm sorry. Can you all see my screen? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes, we can.
I'm going to be giving just a high-level view of the DBE program. To be clear, DBE does stand for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Just going to go over an overview of some of the objectives with the DBE program, certification, the standards, requirements, applications included in that, and just provide a few tips and recommendations for people who are to be DBE certified and what it looks like what's next after. Okay. So SEPTA's DBE program office is, like I stated before, it's a part of our Equity and Inclusion Division here at SEPTA, and it comprises of two key areas, our certification unit and our contract compliance. With certification, we focus on certifying new disadvantaged business enterprise firms, small business enterprise firms, and airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise firms. We also handle the annual declaration of eligibility for them. So for firms that are already certified, there is a process to where you do have to renew annually, and the certification unit does focus on all of those different areas. For our contract compliance, they work heavily with capturing SEPTA's overall triennial or 3-year goal that we have to provide to the Federal Transit Administration, as well as any type of contract specific goals. So any contract that is federally funded, whether it's $1 of federal funds, is going to have, is going to be analyzed to see if there's any DBE attainment that could be put into a goal for that. They also handle, our contract and compliance unit handles the monitoring and reporting of awarded contracts to DBE firms. We do light technical assistance, and I will get into that a little deeper when I go through our application process, just so that that can be fully understood. And of course, we work with business development and have a lot of outreach efforts for our firms and try to provide programs that will be beneficial for their business development. So the DBE program does seek to achieve several objectives, right? So we ensure non-discrimination in the award and administration of Department of Transportation, also known as DOT, assisted contracts in the department's highway, transit, and airport programs. Also, it is created to create a level playing field on which DBEs can compete fairly on DOT assisted contracts. We also want to make sure that our firms are fully eligible to the standards of being permitted to participate as a DBE, remove the barrier of participation of DBEs in DOT assisted contracts, promote the use of DBEs in all types of federally assisted contracts and procurement activities, and also assist with the development of firms so that they can compete successfully in the marketplace. Now, it is to be understood, the DBE program is a federal program, and it's regulated by the United States Department of Transportation under the Code of Federal Regulations 49 Part 26. A firm is classified as a DBE or can look into DBE certification as long as it is a small for-profit business. It is very important to understand that if you do own a nonprofit business, unfortunately, DBE certification will not be the certification for you. Also, the firm has to be owned by at least it has to have 51% ownership of one or more individuals who are classified as socially or economically disadvantaged. We will go into that a little further in my upcoming slides. Also, that 51% owner has to completely own, manage, operate, and control this applicant firm. That is very important to understand. They also must perform transportation related work, or for our ACDBE airport concession activity or some type of airport concession service. So with social disadvantage classifications, there are members of a presumed group that we focus on for social disadvantage. That will include women, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, and subcontinent Asian Americans. That can be fleshed out more if anyone wants to look at the Code of Federal Regulations. If you look at Part 26.67, the entire section of A really fleshes out like how they look at presumed groups, what is specifically included and what is excluded. Because I only have 10 minutes, I just wanted to give you a high level of what is the presumed group of socially disadvantaged individuals that we look at for DBE certification. Also, economic disadvantage is a classification for DBE, and we focus on two things: business size standards and personal net worth. So business size standard, we look at the DBE size standard, where we look at a 3-year average of the annual gross receipts of that firm, including all affiliates that they have ownership with. And that must not exceed $30.72 million. Now, I know that's a pretty large small business, right? But it just leaves room for there to be, of course, some generational wealth. There's also a small business administration size standard, and that focuses on a 5-year average annual gross receipt that must not exceed the SBA size standard that is set for that firm's NAICS code. Now, NAICS is an acronym for North American Industry Classification System, and all that focuses on is the business's primary, their primary business activity. It is important, if you don't know what that is for your business, that you can go to census.gov/NAICS and just put in what your primary focus is or what your primary service is, and then you are able to find out what your NAICS code is for your business. What we do is we take that NAICS, and the SBA gives us a size standard. So let's say, for example, you do landscaping. The SBA could give a size standard that your company, your 5-year average cannot exceed 32 million. So we look at the DBE size standard that doesn't exceed the 30.72 million. And then we look at the SBA size standard for your NAICS for your business. Next thing is going to be your personal net worth. It must not exceed $2.047 million. That does exclude any type of ownership interest that you have in the applicant firm, the firm that you are applying for DBE certification for. It also excludes equity in your primary residence. So we don't look at that equity. However, we do look at any type of investment property. Does have to be included in your personal net worth statement, or any other home or residence that you own that is outside of your primary residence. The Code of Federal Regulations was recently updated to also now exclude any type of retirement or pension values. So those are the two things that we look at for economic disadvantage for a DBE firm, for a firm looking for DBE certification. Now, in Pennsylvania, there are 5 certifying agencies. We are all members of the Pennsylvania Unified Certification Program. And when you are interested in looking into getting DBE certified, you would want to go to PAUCP's website, which is www.paucp.com. There you will find all 5 of the certifying participants. We have Allegheny County, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, also known as PennDOT, Philadelphia International Airport, Pittsburgh Regional Transit, and then also SEPTA. Once you choose your certifying agency, right, you want to make sure that you go in and create an account. You want to make sure that you initiate and create your logins. Now, what is going to be important? You want to hang on to your logins, because this is going to give you access to this electronic system, and this is where you will, going forward, handle anything pertaining to your DBE certification, whether it's to apply, whether it's to update any contact information, whether it's to submit a notice of change, whether there's an ownership change, an address change, and there is a request and a form that you have to put in for that. Anything that you do for your DBE certification is going to be based on this account that you have created. There are many times where people call in. This is where I say that we only do light technical assistance, because if you, for whatever reason, forget any of your login information for this online portal, you do have to go through the customer support of the online portal. SEPTA's DBE program office cannot assist you with that. We can sort of walk you through some of the processes as best as we can on our end, because obviously the applicant has a different view than we actually see the portal. So there is light technical assistance that we can provide, but any issues with that portal, you do want to go through the support tab on that portal. And then you just begin the application process. The portal is very explicit. It is very laid out what is needed to move on for you to submit this application for certification. I think it is also vital to only provide what is asked for, what is requested. If they ask for 5 years of your business taxes, please just provide 5 years. Don't give us 6, don't give us 4, unless you've only been in business for 4, right? You want to make sure, because that will hold up your application along the way once it actually gets into the hands of a specialist. So it's important to just follow all of the steps that is provided through that application process. And again, they have made it very, very simplistic. Once your firm is certified, your firm will be listed in the PAUCP directory. Why this is important? First of all, the PAUCP website is updated in real time, right? We oftentimes get firms call in and say, hey, I'm working with the vendor, I'm working with this business, and they're looking for a letter that will show my certification status. We no longer provide letters. You want to direct them to the PAUCP website. That is updated in real time, and it classifies and shows all firms that are currently listed as a DBE or ACDBE, okay? Any contractor, any consultant that is looking to verify your certification status must go to the website. Once you are certified, like I stated before, all of your DBE certification maintenance is handled through that electronic system. Your declaration of eligibility that you submit annually, anything that you particularly want to do, any type of change request for your business will go through that website. It does need to be understood, because I know I stated that you have to do an annual declaration of eligibility. Even while you're going through the process of renewal, your DBE certification does not expire. The only time that you lose your DBE certification is if you receive a notice of decision letter from our certification agency or any other certification agency for that matter that says you are losing your DBE certification. While you are waiting for your annual renewal, or while you are getting certified, or while you're getting certified, you haven't been certified yet, but any type of annual declaration of eligibility, your certification doesn't expire. If you're waiting for that to be processed and a vendor needs to check your status, they would still go to the website and you will still show up in the system as certified. I do want to be clear on that. I'm just going to tap lightly on this process. There is an interstate certification application process. What that means is once you are certified, DBE certified in your principal place of business, meaning if your business's address is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you need to first be DBE certified in PA at one of those 5 certifying agencies, right? But let's say you are now doing business in Idaho. And I know that sounds weird, but I do have a business who is their principal place of business was with us, and they went to go and seek interstate certification in Idaho. You just got to make sure that you're DBE certified in your principal place of business, and then you will go through the steps through Idaho's Unified Certification Program, apply for interstate certification, and you would just follow these steps that I have listed here. If you want, you can screenshot this screen. If not, Colleen is going to be sending this deck to everyone who is present on this session today. Lastly, keep in mind, DBE certification is only the first step, guys. You have to be proactive and attend pre-bid meetings and pre-proposal meetings. It is very important for you all to research contracting opportunities. That is completely up to you, the firm owner. In order to do business with SEPTA, you do need to register under our e-procurement system. The web address is here. Keep in mind, whether you are DBE certified or not, you can still register to do business with SEPTA in that portal. What is awesome is that they get information for your commodity or NAICS codes, just so that we can know what your primary focus of business activity is. You do want to make sure you have a W-9 to make sure you have that available. You submit all that information for your business. If there is any contract or project that comes up that includes work that is required from your commodity or NAICS code, you will automatically be emailed of that contract opportunity or that project opportunity. So it's really good to make sure that you are registered in our system, and also register with other agencies. DBE certification is accepted in a lot of other city organizations, with PennDOT, with the Department of General Services, with the Office of Economic Opportunity. Make sure you register with those other agencies. Again, the work, it begins, if it hasn't already begun for you, well before you get DBE certified. You getting DBE certified is only the beginning. It's only the beginning, okay? I appreciate you all for your time. This is just information for our SEPTA DBE program office. We have our email address as well as our support line here. Also, I provided our procurement email address and phone number. If there's any issues with you all registering your business on our procurement system, please reach out to that email address or call that number. They are very responsive. We have some great ladies sitting at the desk that are very versed on how that system works and can help you along any issues that you run into. But thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. This was fantastic. All right, I am going
Yes.
to bring up the caboose and I am going to talk about how to get WBE or women-owned certified. So give me 1 second. I will share my slides. All righty, hopefully you guys can all see my slides. So just like NMSDC and NGLCC, the first two that we talked about, we are a national certifier and a national network. So it is one national certification, but you do get certified and apply through your local regional office, just like the first two certifiers said. So there are over 20,000 certified WBEs nationally and over 500 corporations that are members of WBENC that have strong supplier diversity programs. Now we are WBENC East, so actually same footprint as EMSDC. Our office covers all businesses that are headquartered in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the 8 southern counties, so the southern half of New Jersey. If you are in the northern half of New Jersey, you will be working with the New York office. Our main office is in Philadelphia. We also have a satellite office in Pittsburgh. Now, what is a WBE? Very, very similar eligibility structure as the other certifications discussed today. It is not just about ownership. Yes, businesses must be 51% or more owned, but they also must be run and controlled by a woman or women. So I also want to throw out here that we do offer a second certificate, kind of like a 2-for-1. Remember back in the very beginning of the program, I mentioned that there is the WOSB, which is the federal government's women-owned small business certification. Well, enough people want it, enough people do business both on the government level and in the private sector that we offer the WOSB as an add-on. So the very first question of our application will be, do you also want to add on the WOSB? People like knee-jerk reaction, just check yes. If you are not going to be doing federal contracting, save yourself a little bit of time and check no. But if you are, I just want to let you know that it's nice that you can kind of get two certifications on one application rather than applying directly to the SBA and going through a whole additional certification process. So let's break down the eligibility a little bit further. So you must be in profit or you must be in business and a for-profit business. So we don't certify nonprofits. 51% ownership. So that includes all voting and non-voting ownership. So it's all aggregate ownership. So if there are 10 voting stocks and 90 non-voting stocks, but the woman holds all 10 voting stocks, yeah, she is 100% voting, but she only owns 10% overall of the company. It's 51% all aggregate. And we do certify corporations, LLCs, sole proprietors, partnerships, some employee stock option plans, depending on how they're set up. So we really kind of run the gamut of all business structures, and there is no minimum for how long you've been in business as well, and every industry. A woman has to hold the highest defined office. So whether that's president, CEO, board chair, if the board chair is not active day to day, a woman has to be in the active day-to-day president, CEO, manager, whatever role. This has to be in more than just a performative sense. So you cannot just name a woman the president. She really doesn't have much to do with the business, but you say, oh, a woman's in the highest title. No, she must actually be running the day-to-day and have total control of the business. And we're going to look for that through evidence of this, both in your governing documents. So we're going to look through your bylaws and your operating agreement or your partnership agreement, whatever you have. We're going to look to see that she is actively running the day-to-day, that she's signing contracts, that she has, control over her bank account, that she's taking a pay in some form, whether through distribution or, we're really going to look to see that she is the driver of this business. And she also has to have the essential expertise, whether that is in the form of technical expertise or technical license. Again, she can't just be a performative in nature, and she can't just be working in an administrative sense. So a situation where, a woman has been in, the CFO role, and all of a sudden there's a title switcheroo, but she's really only been doing the finances in the back office. If it's like a heavy construction equipment company and she really doesn't know that much about heavy construction and equipment, that's not going to be certifiable. She has to have the essential industry expertise to run this business without relying on a man or a male-owned company. So I will get into that a little bit further when we talk about husband-wife teams, because we do have a lot. Now, I get, the rabble from both sides. How can husband-wife teams be certified? I'm 100% owned, woman-owned business, and vice versa. Why can't I get certified? I run my business, but with my husband. We are in the business of empowering women, whether or not she runs her business by herself or she's been building her business along with her husband. But the key here is that she has to be the driver of the business. She has to be essential to the business. So questions we want you to ask: is this your business? Because we see a lot of situations where, it's the husband has been running the business for 30 years and he's been the president and she's been doing the back office. And then they decide, we could try to get more contracts if we're a woman-owned business. They do a title switcheroo, but none of that, like operationally, nothing really changes, right? He's still running things in the field. So, we're looking at, are you the one that is really driving the business? Are you overseeing the day-to-day, or are you just more passively involved? Does your male partner defer to you on technical and major business decisions? Ultimately, if he left immediately, would you be successful in the business and running the business, or would you have to find someone else to replace him? So the application process is very similar to others that you have heard. I just want to point out that we will never deny you for accidentally forgetting to send 1 or 2 documents correctly. That is why the first phase, you're going to get assigned to a staff officer. You're going to go through a Q&A process with them. I don't think I've ever seen anyone send all of the documents correctly the first time, because it's a lot. But also what you sent to us is a baseline for us to get to know you more. Once everything is actually in, we don't have any other questions, we're going to send it to our anonymous certification committee. They're the actual decision makers, not your staff officer. So they're just the shepherds for your process. And then we're going to do a one-on-one site visit interview. Most are virtual, but if you do have, warehouse heavy equipment, will come out. So the whole process can take about 3 to 4 months. It can take longer if you have a super complicated business and you take forever to get back to us with questions in the Q&A. But recertification is annual. It is generally less rigorous, usually goes through in about 2 weeks or under. If you've had no business changes, we do these site visits every 3 years. I do a full hour-long presentation on all this stuff. There is a similar cost to apply, similar structure as the MBE. If you make under $1 million a year, it is $350. Again, another thing for you to think about: if you are a brand new business, are you ready yet? Is this going to be worth your investment in time and money? I'm going to kind of briefly scan over. We take privacy very, very seriously. I think we actually use the same portal as the DBE and the MBE. Not sure about the LGBTBE, but it's the same software that is designed for this reason. And it has multiple layers of encryption. We all sign confidentiality agreements. It is a highly secure system, and that's why we don't accept anything in hard copy or paper. Don't mail it to us. Don't email me your tax returns. That's not safe. So there's a lot you're going to send to us. You're going to send, your governing stuff, your articles of incorporation, your bylaws. You're going to send 3 years of tax returns, balance sheets, profit loss, loan agreements. It's a lot of stuff. We have a great guide on our website, which I'll include, that kind of goes through the laypersons of each document. Do I need to send this? What does this mean? But the question I usually get is why? Why do we ask for all this stuff? And that's because whether you see it or not, believe it or not, every document really helps us put the puzzle pieces together of, is she really the one running the business? Because it is unfortunate that in this day and age, we are still seeing, and I personally think I see an increase in the number of businesses that are just trying to, skirt under the radar and put a, pretend woman figurehead on the business. So we're really going to be looking into all of the puzzle pieces to make sure that she is really the driver of the business here and is essential to the business. We have an amazing staff team, just like all the other certifiers. Please reach out to us directly. We're happy to answer any questions you have. Please, when you're ready, take our How to Get Certified program, especially if you're a brand new business. It goes into a lot of the details of what you need to submit if you are, lacking some of these documents, and we can answer any of those questions for you. So I know we are at the end of the hour, but I want to thank all you guys for coming out, especially the panelists. This has been a really fantastic program, and I hope you guys have all learned a lot about the different certifications out there and why people are getting certified. So some next steps for you all after this program is, one, think about who your clients are. Are you in a commercial services or B2B or wholesale products sphere that you think that this certification could really help you get a foot in the door with procurement offices? If you are a brand new business, decide whether or not you're ready. Do you have the capital and the equipment and the staff that, it will be useful to you at the moment? Get all your documents in order. That is so, so important that everything is in order. Make sure everything supports your control as the owner, whether, you're pursuing the MBE or the WBE or any BE. And then as Marcia said, that's just the beginning. You got to really be prepared to lean in and use your certificate, use that network to learn and connect. It's all about relationship building. Gone are the days that you're just going to go online and apply for a bid and it is all about who you know and the network and relationship building, and that is why these programs exist. So that being said, I know it is the end of the hour. If you do have to jump off, I thank you guys so much for your time. Please take advantage of everything MedWeek has to offer. But I will be hanging on for a couple minutes to answer any high-level questions. Other certifiers, I welcome you to stay on for a couple of minutes as well. But otherwise, I will get the recording out this afternoon. And thanks for coming. Take care.
Nice. Thank you, Colleen, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Colleen is such a great presenter. So many questions probably were already answered before